Hey, what's shaking, everyone? So, if you're not familiar with Cuties by now, obviously I haven't been on the internet lately, because oh boy is Netflix taking a total shit kicking over this one. This movie, um, the nicest way you could put it, I suppose, more or less softcore pedophilia, if you're being honest about it, really. I really wanted to avoid talking about this because it's fucking disgusting any way that you slice it, and the only reason I am bringing it up is because, well, it really starts to get the old noggin jogging. Like, what's the point behind this? Like, if you want to tell this coming of age tale, there's more tactful and honestly more tasteful ways of doing it than, I don't know, having a bunch of preteens hump the floor and twerk. Like, if you want to be thoroughly disgusted and have your evening ruined, feel free to peruse Twitter or YouTube for the clips of this abomination. I'm not going to show them here because, well, I like my sleep. It's very important to me. But I've got the People article pulled up here. Just this is what normies are going to be reading. This is what the people who aren't entrenched in the news on a daily basis are reading. Apparently, if anybody still reads People, but this is how Cuties is framed for the public. Why people are demanding to hashtag cancel Netflix behind the controversial new movie Cuties. Cuties has been accused of sexualizing children and promoting pedophilia, but others have praised the French film Pedophiles for its handling of sensitive topics. Whatever. Netflix is in hot water following the release of its controversial new film, Cuties. On Thursday, cancel Netflix began trending on Twitter after many users claimed that the, I'm gonna butcher this one, Mamino Doker, something like that, directed film, Pederast directed film promotes pedophilia. I have canceled my Netflix subscription. When asked for a reason, I wrote, "You support pedophilia." I have not heard back. Cancel Netflix, wrote one user. You could extrapolate that out. The fact that it's been trending topic on Twitter for at least 18 hours at this point, it's fair to say that's a common thread throughout the rest of these tweets here. I won't bore you with the rest of them. Oh, look at this. In addition, a change.org petition was launched even prior to the French film's release, calling on the streaming platform to cancel its release as of Thursday afternoon today. The petition has 129,000 signatures. Netflix didn't immediately respond to a request for comment. I don't know if you need government interference with something at this scale, because in the grand scheme of things, it is just a film, as tasteless and tactless as it is. Do you really want the government interfering with private companies? Maybe in this instance, I'd be willing to bend on my hard stance on that. This is quite a subject. But I won't bore you with any more of the random tweets from unverifiable goofs. So here's the breakdown of this sick, twisted shit. Cuties follows Amy, actor, I'm not gonna butcher another name, an 11-year-old girl from Senegal, who joins a dance team dubbed the Cuties at her school and slowly becomes more aware of her blossoming femininity. At 11 years old, you fucking creeps. Unbelievable. Which causes tension in her traditional family. They're Muslims. This bitch is, wow. I hear the faint calls of a fatwa somewhere in the distance. While the coming-of-age film has been criticized, it's been praised by many, including film critics, exclusively film critics, and men with panel vans and Freddie Mercury mustaches, for its handling of sensitive topics. It was also well received at the 2020 Sundance Film Festival, where it won the World Cinema Dramatic Directing Award. And there you have it. This is the reason I'm bringing this up. Is because ideas as awful as this get bounced around the, echo chambers of New York and Southern California as these ideas that really need consideration in the modern age. No. Everybody drew the line a long time ago on sexualizing children. That was a no-go, dog, on the right and on the left. And now, because the left is running out of problems to bitch about, they keep creating new ones. So now you want to create another problem to solve by introducing pedophiles to the mainstream vernacular, into the mainstream society. It's sick. I can't stress that any more clearly. This, while doesn't explicitly have any child sex acts, does the same thing that Skinamax did in the, late 90s, early 2000s. And the fact that it's on a mainstream streaming service, probably it's easily the preeminent streaming service, just goes to show how the intelligentsia class, the elite class, your critics centered in those two previously mentioned areas, feel about these, brainlet ideas. And that really, it should disturb the average individual as well. That really makes me think too, because these are ideas that are given a fair platform in, especially California, where most of these reviewers for Hollywood, because, obviously Hollywood's in Los Angeles. I don't know, quick history lesson from Don here. But here's where pedophilia first broke onto the scene. Yuck. There was a Salon article that was posted in 2011 attempting to normalize pedophilia. It was quickly shot down and called out for the disgusting display of human depravity that it actually is. And the intelligentsia class, all of these, the Voxers, Salon, we're all saying, oh, maybe it is a mental illness and we can treat it as such. And over the past decade, it's kind of bubbled under the surface with these lunatics. It hasn't really seen the light of day because, we drew the line a long time ago. It's been settled. Don't sexualize children. Until government steps in. Until progressive government steps in. Enter I think if AIDS could take a human form, it would be Scott Wiener. This is just his most recent a crime on humanity. State Senator Wiener targeted for bill to even out sanctions for sex offenses. Well, doesn't that seem... That seems reasonable. Okay, this is Fox. Okay, they have a reputation of being rather right-wing. So let's take a look at what Senator Wiener has announced as his cause du jour. California Senator Scott Wiener of San Francisco, this is going to end well, on Thursday reaffirmed his commitment to changing how younger offenders, specifically those who identify as LGBTQIA plus 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, are added to the state's sex offender registry. Okay. Wiener introduces State Senate Bill 145 in January 2019 to do that. But he said he has, in recent weeks, become the target, of online harassment, including homophobic and anti-Semitic insults and death threats that he said grow out of information being spread about the bill. Well, what bill is this here, Scott? He throws out QAnon, far right. Yeah, okay, he wants to shit down my neck. But, okay, where's all of this rage actually coming from? Okay, let's go down here to this quote from this interview that he gave. They have identified this bill and started saying that it's about protecting pedophiles, which it is not. Okay. And even saying that I'm a pedophile, well, the shoe doesn't fall too far. Well, the apple doesn't fall too far from the tree, rather. This kind of slander, not just against me, but against my community, is outrageous. And we must speak out against it, he said. Currently, if a 14 to 17-year-old and a partner who is less than 10 years older have consensual sex, it is illegal. This guy thinks it should be legal for a 24-year-old to fuck a 14-year-old. That's what this bill is about, people. He wants to introduce this bill that Fox has so wonderfully framed as, even out sanctions for sex offenses. What he wants to do is he wants to make sure that these pederasts don't have to register on the California sex registry list if they are within a 10-year bubble. So if a 24-year-old fucks a 14-year-old in the ass, sorry for being accurate with what he's trying to propose, the offender, the 24-year-old, doesn't have to register on a sex offender list. This is what this piece of shit wants. And it's not even just ass fucking, lack of a better term. It's also oral and any other kind of non-penetrative sex, I suppose. A sick individual, to say the least. But he's also only concerned with, these grooming practices being legal or endorsed even by the government, just in the context of being LGBTQ. He doesn't give a fuck about straight people. And, I don't know about you, but I think 24-year-old man should not be fucking a 14-year-old girl. I think any reasonable human being would also come to that conclusion. And that's what Cuties promotes. It said right there in the People article that an 11-year-old is exploring their blossoming femininity. Unbelievable. But this isn't the first time that Senator Wiener, apropos, was in the news. Back in 2011, around the same time as that previously mentioned Salon article came out, he also dropped this little nugget. California lowers penalty for knowingly exposing partners to HIV. He made it so that if somebody HIV positive knows that they're HIV positive and willingly and viciously and vindictively passes it on to another person, giving them a death sentence, unless you're Magic Johnson, of course, and can buy the greater part of Silicon Valley, that's no longer a felony. It's no longer an act of malice, according to Senator Scott Wiener, who nobody should ever vote for ever again. This guy's a creep and a felon. If he really believes that this is true, that you shouldn't have to register and you shouldn't have to inform the person you're going to be fucking and giving a death sentence to, I don't know what to tell you, man. Criminal. Absolute criminal. He is causing people's lives to be shortened. Indisputably. There are drugs out there right now which makes it a lot more difficult to pass on and a lot easier to live with. But if you're going out and having casual sex with somebody that you just met, which is within your constitutional rights to do so, and that person that you go out there and fuck is carrying, I don't want to say death sentence again, but there's no better way to put it, something that's going to dramatically decrease your quality of life. Fuck it, it's not a felony. Felonies, whatever, it's a misdemeanor, who cares? Yep, you can live with it now. But I tell you, man, this is California in a nutshell. Okay, this shit has been bubbling up since at least 2010, a lot earlier too, because, I don't know, there's a certain man who may or may not have killed himself, who is also grooming pedophiles, and there's claims of people like I don't know, Corey Haim, Corey Feldman, that Hollywood itself is being run by a gang of pedophiles, a ring of pedophiles. And it really gets the old noggin jogging when something so mainstream like Cuties happens. And it gets so much publicity out there. And this isn't going to be the last instance of this pedophilic film being out there. Something like it. It may go underground for a little bit. Kind of like the original Salon article in 2011. It went underground, but then it came back up. And that's California. I'm telling you, man, these terrible ideas just keep gestating in this, well, one-party rule state. When was the last time it was actually reasonably left-wing, conservative? Okay, you had Arnold Schwarzenegger, who was governor of California for 2 terms. But you look at his policies, you look what he enacted. He was a centrist running under the Republican ticket, which I'll give him credit for. I have a giant poster of Arnold Schwarzenegger behind me. One of my personal heroes, a man who's done tremendous things, but that was an aberration. Jerry Jonestown Jones, or Jerry Jonestown Brown. Nancy Pelosi being in there for the past, I don't know, since calendars were written in the sand. All of these people have been around forever, letting their problems bubble up where there need not be problems to begin with. And to just hammer this home a little bit, here's what else they're proposing. This is being sent to referendum in November. I'm going to read this to you. Now, it's framed as being California Proposition 16, repeal Proposition 209 Affirmative Action Amendment. Oh, it says affirmative action. That should mean it's good, right? Because the more diversity of I don't believe it for 1 second. Fuck this analogy. California Proposition 16, the repeal Proposition 209 Affirmative Action Amendment, is on the ballot in California as a legislatively referred constitutional amendment on November 3rd, 2020. If you vote yes to support this, I will, not me personally, but I hope you understand the ramifications of your vote. A yes vote supports a constitutional amendment to repeal Proposition 209, levied in 1996, which states that the government and public institutions cannot discriminate against or grant preferential treatment to persons on the basis of race, sex, color, ethnicity, or national origin in public employment, public education, and public contracting. They want to remove the right to discriminate based on race, sex, color. They want to repeal civil rights, okay? This is what they're sending out there, and that's what they're framing as affirmative action. Affirmative action for the normal person has a general sense of goodwill to it. And the fact that they want to remove previously agreed upon ideas that everybody agrees are tremendous ideas, okay? Everybody agrees, everybody knows. Anyways, this is another instance of what I consider that the left has won everything. Congratulations, you got everything that you've ever wanted. Everybody is relatively equal. And now you're trying to tear down, well, enshrined rights in order to have another cause du jour so you can always have something to champion. Because what's there left to decide upon? You know, whether Stacy, who believes that he's Steve this week, has the proper bathroom to shit in. Well, congratulations, you've already won that. 0.01% of the population gets to run wild. And it's not even like a civil rights thing, okay? California is burning because their government is so fucking ridiculous out there. They've lost their fucking mind when it comes to creating problems where there aren't any. I'm sure you all know. California is on fire. There are countless wildfires out there, many of which are not contained in the least bit. And San Francisco, like, okay, this is all that. Yeah, there's San Francisco right there. Blade Runner 49, or Blade Runner 2049, right? And, oh, okay, you have Obama tweeting out stupid shit like, oh, this is because climate change. Make sure you vote in November. Fuck off. You know what this is? This is a failure of your government. This is a failure to thin brush may have worsened California wildfire. Well, you were too busy with your thumb up your ass during this COVID quarantine. You couldn't realize that, oh, okay, we normally have wildfires that are terrible this time of the year. Let's not deal with the brush. Let's not deal with the dead wood. Let's not drag it out, because if you guys don't remember, in Australia at the beginning of the year, it was on fire for this fucking reason. Because they didn't deal with the brush. They didn't deal with the underlying cause of the fire that kept feeding it. This is an older article, but it's the exact same situation. They furloughed all of their wildfire fighters because under the guidance of, we're doing what's right for the people. We're keeping everybody safe. And that's what they're doing with repealing civil rights. With making transmitting AIDS not a felony. With normalizing pedophilia. This is all under the guise of we're taking care of these people, that we're looking after mental health. No, what you're doing is destroying the fourth largest economy in the world. What you're doing is subjecting 46 million people to bonkers ideas that a 0.0001% of people actually think. I have a staunch Republican aunt who lives in the greater San Francisco area. I feel bad for her. She has to live in this situation, under that orange sky. But she is vehemently pro-Trump. She's been pro-Republican forever. And shit like this, if they can parse through the information, California may not be voting for Trump in November, but I expect to see a fair amount more Republicans get elected in seats that you don't expect. There's a strong possibility Maxine Waters is going to have a good run for her money, because there's a young black conservative out there who's challenging her and pressing her hard, and nobody who listens to any information coming out of Maxine Waters knows that bitch has 2 brain cells left to rub together. Whatever it is, it's hiding under that hat. But that's enough on this topic. It's been bouncing around my head for a while, so not pedophilia. That's disgusting. Beat you to it. Anyways, guys, if you like this video, if you like my analysis, I'd really appreciate a sub down there, or hey, feel free to drop a like on it. It's one button press, and it does me a world of good. And if you'd like to discuss this or anything else further, feel free to drop it in the comments below, or follow me on Twitter or Parler. It's Don Khan-Swaylo. And with that, I've been Don Khan-Swaylo, and I want you guys to follow your gut and get after it. Take care, everyone.